for the next generation IPS and the AMP, advanced malware protection, you may want to prevent users from going to certain content. So we also have a content filtering page as well. So in here, it's super easy. You can go in and block certain categories. Maybe gambling is not something that you want your organization, your users in your organization to be using. Maybe that's a policy the CEO has implemented, what have you. You can go in and even filter through web search filters. So like Bing, Google can enable that. You can block encrypted searches. You can even go down to restrict YouTube content. We see this being very popular with schools, as they are always constantly trying to find a way to stop children from accessing content that isn't good or isn't necessarily school appropriate. And then, of course, you have the ability to go in and whitelist and put in patterns of URLs and HTTP addresses that you don't want users going to. So far, this is our MX appliance from a security, and it's innate capabilities, which is security. But the security appliance, the Meraki security appliance, can also help save you money and is a really popular SD-WAN solution. So I know you've probably heard that buzzword already, and I want to make sure you know that this same appliance, this single appliance, can also do some traffic shaping and can do SD-WAN capabilities that we hear about all the time. It's really becoming more popular for you to be able to control how traffic moves across your network and even utilize things that were deemed unsafe, like the internet, to bring across some important traffic if you wanted to. So this is, where we would configure that. You have these different WAN circuits and uplinks that we can configure one to be the preferred method. We can even say that, this is our preferred method, and if traffic reaches a certain threshold, right, so things that change every single day, like latency, jitter, things that aren't predictable, how do we set a limit and say if traffic if it goes over 400 milliseconds latency, I want to go to my other WAN link. Right? I don't want to use the preferred method because at this point it isn't the best transit for this traffic today. We want to go to the other link. So I did want to mention that although that's not necessarily a part of security, it is important to know that this single device can do all of those things. So moving away from, I do want to show also before I leave here that we do have a security center, which is where all of those events that are constantly happening in your environment will show up. So again, visibility. This will show you the different events that have happened and help you provide that report to your management if need be. We don't have anything in this demo environment, unfortunately, and hopefully you don't either in your networks, right? Nobody really wants to have a lot of security threats that are coming in and out. But ideally, you would see something here, though. Now I'm going to switch gears and go into Umbrella. So again, Meraki MX, perimeter, branch security, helping all of your users be protected when they are at work on premises. But when they are not, and when they're out using internet, this is where Umbrella will really shine. And honestly, this is what I tell customers, that if you had to pick two security solutions, you should always pick your firewall, Cisco firewall, right, whether it's the Meraki or the ASA or our Firepower appliance. And then I think Umbrella. Umbrella is very important to have, and we really don't have any other solutions out there in the market that's like it, right, that really protects you in this way. Umbrella has been around the longest out of all the potential DNS solutions out there, and we see traffic on the scale of Google. We're second to Google in terms of how much we're seeing in terms of requests every single day. So if anybody has the database, I guess, to protect you, it would definitely be Cisco with our security solutions. I would say that the overview page is probably your first place as a security professional, or even as an IT, as a general network engineer that is handling the security. You want to stop here to see the health of your network. See, okay, how many different requests have happened in the last 24 hours, any malware, how many command and control requests, which is something you probably want to look at, all the different security blocks, the different identities, so people and users in your environment that were affected. All of this is shown from this first page. Then to dig deeper, you probably want to go into the reporting page. This is what I think is as a day in the life of a security professional, this probably would be your flow. You would go into the security activity and look at all the different activities specifically according to whether it was categorized by AMP, meaning there was a file that came in that was protected, that was detected that wasn't safe, whether it matched a particular security category, or whether it was just an antivirus. We just know this to be a file, or we know of this to be a signature that we don't want in your network. So there's different ways for you to categorize that. But as we see here, there's a number of different requests. When we click the drop down there, we see that it was blocked, we see who it was, you see the identity, you see what kind of categories match this particular block, and then you even see where that user was going. Of course, the timestamp of when it happened and so forth too. So if you were the security professional and you need to provide a report, you could easily, from this screen, go to that destination just to learn a little bit more about what this request entails and why Cisco decided to block it. So the first view that you see are just a timeline of what was allowed and blocked. We can even see this from a global perspective, so not just within your organization, but from the world. How many people around the world have been going to this site? Was it just your organization? Maybe it's a targeted attack for your employees. Maybe there's somebody out to attack your organization for some reason. So you see all of those different things across a timeline. In addition, you can see the identities that were affected. We know exactly which users we probably want to go talk to or look, maybe do more research into their computers. It will be a great integration here will be something called Advanced Malware Protection for the Endpoint. So again, AMP sits at all those places, and I think I forgot to mention that it sits on an endpoint, which is probably the most important place for us to actually remediate those threats and malware. So the AMP for endpoints at that moment could probably scan and kind of see what's happening on that endpoint and check the health, because we know that identities have tried going there. Maybe you just want to kind of check those people out. To go even deeper, Umbrella has another solution that we call Investigate, which gives you a complete view of the domain's relationships and its evolution as it's been on the internet. So I click here, and right away we see that we see a lot of red markings. Number one, red in any kind of world is typically like, I need to look at this, what does this mean? It's very suspicious. We see all of the other domains that are associated with this particular domain, any other malicious domains that are associated. We see when this particular domain was set up, when it was, you know, what the registrar's name is, and what other, you see all the detail that you need, I guess, to be able to say that, okay, I understand why we blocked this user, and I'm glad that we blocked it. And so that actually brings me into how I like to end everything today, is to say that I wish I could just go through every single use case that you all have, you know, in terms of security, but I think the best way to show you the umbrella is to demo it. Every single customer that I've had in my commercial, I support Chicago, Indiana territory, has purchased this once they've seen the assessment. So we can do a trial for you. It's free of charge, can set up in less than 30 minutes, and see exactly, you know, what's happening in your environment, how this will help you and your team. And it's very easy to use. You can see different cloud apps. So maybe there are sanctioned apps, there are apps that you're allowing in the environment, but then there's other apps that you aren't allowing. You can see that as well. So that's kind of loading up again there. But we also can do the same for Meraki. There's, and I think that Steve will probably go ahead and talk about that too, just the different ways for you to try this. The best way to do it is to try it, and you will see for yourself exactly how important it'll be for your environment.